My dear students, Assalamu alaikum. In today's lecture, we will discuss one more form of frequency diagrams, which is cumulative frequency curve, which is also known as Ogive. Dear students, Ogive or cumulative frequency curve is a curve which is constructed by plotting cumulative frequency data on the graph paper in the form of a smooth curve. This type of curve is constructed on the basis of cumulative frequencies. What is cumulative frequency? Students, cumulative frequency is defined as the running total of frequencies, or we can say that it is the sum of all the previous frequencies up to the current point. The curve obtained by plotting cumulative frequencies is called a cumulative frequency curve or Ogive. It's a graph that is used to estimate how many numbers lie below or above a particular variable or value in data. That is, it allows us to estimate the number of observations that are less than or greater than a particular value in a data set. In order to construct an Ogive, first we prepare the cumulative frequency table. It is done by adding the frequencies of all the previous variables in the given data set. Thus, firstly, frequencies are converted into cumulative frequencies. Then, the cumulative frequencies are plotted against the upper or lower limits of the corresponding class intervals. By joining the points, the curve so obtained is called Ogive or cumulative frequency curve. Dear students, there are two methods of constructing a cumulative frequency curve or Ogive. First, the less than method, and the curve obtained by using the less than method is called less than Ogive. Second method is the more than method, or we can also call it as the greater than method, and the curve constructed based on more than method is called more than Ogive or greater than Ogive. Let us first discuss how to construct a less than Ogive. Students, we know that in a class interval there are two limits. First, lower limit of the class interval, and second, the upper limit of the class interval. In the less than method, we start with the upper limits of the class intervals and go on adding the frequencies to obtain the cumulative frequency. That is, to obtain the cumulative frequency, we add the frequency of first class to the second class frequency and then to the third class frequency and so on. Or we can say that the frequencies are cumulated from above. Then mark upper class limits along x-axis on a suitable scale. Mark cumulative frequencies along y-axis, or we can say vertical axis, on a suitable scale. After that, plot the upper class limits of class interval against the value of corresponding cumulative frequency. The pointers are joined by a freehand smooth curve. The curve so obtained is called a less than Ogive or less than cumulative frequency curve. Students, the less than Ogive is a rising curve which slopes upwards from left to right Let us consider an example here to illustrate it in a better way. The table here gives the data relating to the daily sales of 230 sellers, and we need to represent this data with the help of less than cumulative frequency curve. How do we do it? Students, just follow the steps explained in our previous slide to construct the less than ogive. Firstly, start with the upper limits of class intervals. And the upper limits here in this table are 500, 1000, 1500, 2000, 2500, 3000, 3500 and 4000. Thus, we want to know the number of sellers whose daily sales are less than rupees 500, less than rupees 1000, less than rupees 1500 and so on, as shown in this table. Now convert the frequencies into cumulative frequencies, and in case of less than method, we cumulate, that is, we add up the frequencies from above as shown in the third column of this table. That is, we are going down from top to bottom. The cumulative frequency of first class is the same as the frequency of first class. Now add the frequency of second class to the cumulative frequency of first class, and it is 12, that is the cumulative frequency of first class, plus 18, the frequency of second class, which is equal to 30. So 30 is the cumulative frequency of second class, which shows that there are 30 sellers whose daily sales are less than rupees 1000. In order to get the cumulative frequency of third class, we add the cumulative frequency of second class, which is 30, and the frequency of third class, which is 35. Thus 30 plus 35 is equal to 65, which is the cumulative frequency of third class. It means that 65 sellers have daily sales less than rupees 1500. Dear students, similarly, we calculate the cumulative frequencies for the rest of classes. So we have got a column of cumulative frequencies as 12, 30, 65, 107, 157, 202, 222, and lastly 230. Look at the table carefully. Here we see that the cumulative frequency of the last class, which is 230, is equal to the total frequency, which is also 230. It means that there are 230 sellers whose daily sales are less than rupees 4000. Now draw and mark the horizontal and vertical axis, that is x and y axis. After that, take the upper class limits on the horizontal axis, that is on the x-axis, and take the cumulative frequencies we obtained in our previous setup along the vertical axis, that is along the y-axis. Now against each upper class limit, plot the corresponding cumulative frequencies. That is, plot the pointers with coordinates such as 512, 1030, 1565 and so on. Now join the pointers by a smooth freehand curve to obtain the less than ogive or less than cumulative frequency curve. The less than ogive is a rising curve, slopes upwards from left to right as shown in this figure. Now coming to the more than ogive method, here you will learn how to construct a more than or greater than ogive or greater than cumulative frequency curve. Dear students, the steps for constructing the more than ogive is given here in this slide. In the more than method, we start with the lower limits of the class intervals. That is, it shows the number of observations greater or more than the lower class limit. And then from the total frequency, subtract the frequency of each class to obtain the cumulative frequency. That is, to obtain the cumulative frequency, we subtract the first class frequency from the total frequency to obtain the cumulative frequency of second class. Then subtract the second class frequency from that and so on. After that, mark lower class limits along x-axis on a suitable state. Then mark cumulative frequencies along y-axis on a suitable scale. Against each lower class limit, plot the cumulative frequencies. Then connect the pointers with a continuous curve. The curve so obtained is more than ogive or more than cumulative frequency curve. In order to understand it in a better way, let us consider an example here. The data in the table shows the marks of 60 students, and we have to represent this data in the form of more than ogive, or we can say greater than ogive or cumulative frequency curve. Students, in order to construct a more than ogive, what we have to do? Just start with the lower limits of class intervals, which are 0.5, 10.5, 20.5, 30.5, 40.5, 50.5, 60.5 and 70.5. As shown in this table here. Here we want to know the number of students whose marks are more than 0.5, more than 10.5, more than 20.5 and so on. Now the another step is to calculate the cumulative frequencies from the frequencies, and in case of more than method, we subtract the frequency of each class from the total frequency in order to obtain the cumulative frequencies. Here in this table, the cumulative frequencies are given in the third column. Here we see the cumulative frequency of first class is equal to the total frequency, which is 60. Now, subtract the frequency of first class, which is 3, from the total frequency, which is 60, or which is also the cumulative frequency of first class. We will get the cumulative frequency of second class, that is 60 minus 3 is equal to 57. So 57 is the cumulative frequency of second class. In order to get the cumulative frequency of third class, we will subtract the frequency of second class, which is 8, from the cumulative frequency of second class, which is 57. Thus 57 minus 8 is equal to 49. Thus 49 is the cumulative frequency of third class. In the same way, we can calculate the cumulative frequencies for the rest of classes as shown in the third column of this table. Students, another method to calculate the cumulative frequencies from frequencies in case of more than method is to cumulate or add up the frequencies from below. Now, draw and mark the horizontal and vertical axis, that is x and y axis. After that, take the lower class limits on the horizontal axis, that is on the x-axis, and take the cumulative frequencies on the vertical axis, that is on the y-axis. Now, against each lower class limit, plot the corresponding cumulative frequencies. That is, plot the points with coordinates such as 0.5, 60, 10.5, 57, 20.5, 49, 30.5, 37, and so on. Now connect the pointers with a continuous curve. The curve so obtained is more than cumulative frequency curve, or we can also say greater than cumulative frequency curve or greater than Ogive. Students, the more than Ogive is a falling curve as shown in this figure. My dear students, the cumulative frequency curves can also be used to calculate the median of given data. How? Let me explain you. First, draw a less than Ogive. Then draw a greater than Ogive of the same data on the same graph paper as shown in this slide. The two curves will intersect at some point. A perpendicular line is drawn from the point of intersection to the x-axis. The value on the x-axis will be the median of the frequency distribution or the midpoint of the frequency distribution. Thank you.